Imagine you're walking down the street and you're looking for a direction. You see someone pass by and you ask the person for the direction. Then the person starts laughing and you realize it's your brother. We recognize faces every day. We can recognize these famous faces, we recognize our mom's face, our dad's face, but there is a condition called prosopagnosia where a person cannot recognize faces. In an article by Time magazine called Did I Know by Susan Song, she made an interview with Cecilina Burman, a 38-year-old woman. They were talking about how she felt with this condition, and Cecilina Burman said, this is a quote from her, "It makes me really sad to lose new friends, because I think I could not bother to say hello." Prosopagnosia is an uncommon condition. Today, that's why we'll be talking about what prosopagnosia is, the types of prosopagnosia, and how people in today's society that have prosopagnosia feels. A person with prosopagnosia, they know what a face is. The problem is they cannot put their face together. They don't know where the face belongs. So you may be asking yourself, what is face blindness? What is prosopagnosia? Prosopagnosia is the inability to recognize and discriminate faces. It arises as a consequence of a brain lesson, or it can exist from an early childhood. In the Journal of Psychosomatic Research by Geraldine and others in 2008, in an article called Psychosocial Consequences of Developmental Prosopagnosia, a Problem of Recognition, it says that the reason for failing to develop face recognition, for a person to fail to develop face recognition, is due to a genetic element. So, from an evolutionary perspective, we recognize faces as an adaptation. So, that's how we recognize faces. Persons that have prosopagnosia doesn't have this adaptation. For example, a baby is crying, and then a baby sees the mom. Then the baby will stop crying. That's an adaptation. Before the mom even talks to the baby, he knows it's his mom. In the article, Face Inversion, Superiority in the Case of Prosopagnosia, Following Congenital Brain Abnormalities from the Psychology Press by Smolten and others in 2009, it says that it's adapted for young infants to recognize caretakers prior to the onset of language. So if you think about it, it's amazing how we can memorize one face from millions and other faces we have seen every day. What is a face? It's just like eyes, nose, and mouth. But how we can memorize millions and millions of other faces. So this is due to a holistic process. A person with prosopagnosia will see a face like this. They know what a face is. They know it's a mouth, a nose, and eyes, right? But they cannot put it together. We see a face as a whole stimulus. We see a face as a shape. So, in the article of Holistic Processing of Shape Cues in Face Identification from the Psychology Press in 2011 by Yang and others, they got in the conclusion that the initial representation of an individual face is due to a holistic process and is based on the shape. So, I want you to tell me if you recognize any of these faces. So, now tell me if you can recognize them. So we see faces as a holistic process, right? Like before, when we saw this face, it was harder for us to see who they were, right? So this is a holistic process. We see faces as a shape. In the article Holistic Process of Shape Cues in Face Identification from the Psychology Press, they published this statistic that was made in 2011 by Enders and Brand. And as we can see, the persons got more errors when the face was inverted. So it's kind of like the same face I just did with you. It's common to see in movies or in real life that people kind of recognize faces because they had an accident, but it's not too common to hear that a person was always unable to recognize a face, right? So there are two types of prosopagnosia. One is to a brain injury, which is called acquired, and the other one is a developmental or congenital prosopagnosia. In the study in the European Journal of Neuroscience called Even Related Potentials Reflect Heterogeneity of Developmental Prosopagnosia in 2007 by Dennis and others, they got to the conclusion that every person that had prosopagnosia performed really poorly in learning new faces, and all of them have deficits in processing and recognizing faces. So let's think of our brain as a brain with small little brains. Each part of our brain has like a job to do. When a person has acquired prosopagnosia, what is is wrong with the brain is this part of here, they got an injury. So they got an accident, and in the occipital lobe, they got an injury. But where a person has congenital prosopagnosia or developmental prosopagnosia, we don't know what is happening with the brain. There is no accident, so there is no injury in the brain. During decades, more and more cases of congenital prosopagnosia have been reported. In the study made by Joaquin Lynch and others, published in the journal PLOS ONE in 2009, called Importance Biological Motion Perception in Congenital Prosopagnosia, they took 5 individuals with congenital prosopagnosia, and they took 10 individuals that did not have congenital prosopagnosia. So what they did in this study is they got this TV when it was a silent movie, and a person would start saying numbers. They would have to write the numbers down. And then people with congenital prosopagnosia, they got more errors than those that did not. So what they did this study with the lips, because the lips, as humans, we extract rich visual information from the lips. And they got into a conclusion that prosopagnosia exists from, congenital prosopagnosia exists from early age and is biological. The public is not aware of this condition. Until recently, it was thought that only a few individuals suffer from prosopagnosia. So how people with prosopagnosia feels in today's society? It's normal to ask if there is any treatment, right? But no, there is no treatment. They started studying prosopagnosia 20 years ago, so they don't have any treatment yet. And those with face recognition problems after, we know where that face recognition is reliable for others. In an interview, so you may be asking yourself, so how a person with prosopagnosia recognize their family members, right? So in an interview by Shirley Logan, she made an interview to Rena, a 68-year-old woman, in October 2012, and then she said that she recognized the faces by their voices, clothes, or any particular object. So for example, if I always wear a hat, she will recognize my face because I always wear a hat. As we can see, face perception plays a role in humans' interaction. Today I wanted to talk about prosopagnosia because this is an uncommon condition, not a lot of people know about it. We need to find a treatment, we need to investigate more to see what is happening. Only 2.8% of the people suffer prosopagnosia, and I know that together we can do something and we can find a treatment. And of those 2.8%, you can find someone that has prosopagnosia and understand if someone goes back and they don't say hi to you. This is a webpage, faceline.org, where you can go online and do a test. And see if you have prosopagnosia.